Hello everyone. Today, the 15th of June 2022, we are having our third video class. I am Gloria Aneto. I trust you have learned one or two things in the previous classes, and I want to guess that you enjoyed those classes. Today, our topic is on writing test items for continuous assessment and examinations. Let's start.
Intended learning outcomes. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe at least 5 test items used for continuous assessment and examination. Mention at least 3 important things to note in writing test items for continuous assessment and examination. Identify the steps in Bloom's taxonomy. Differentiate higher order question from lower order question. Types of test items used for continuous assessment and examination. Continuous assessment and examinations are very common evaluation tools in schools and universities. So the test items are basically divided to 2. Objective items, which include multiple choice, which is testing knowledge and problem solving. We have treated multiple choice in the previous class, and I think I'll just go straight to true and false test. This one involves critical thinking, and as teachers we must be aware that choice must be completely true to be correct. So we are very careful about setting this question so that we do not cause confusion. Matching. This is done by pairing, which we all know, and is basically to assess recognition and recall. Completion. This is a statement made with a major part missing, and the examinee is expected to recognize and recall with that type of question, because without that recognition and recall cannot put what is missing. Types of test items continues. We have the subjective ones. I said there were 2 types. We have objective, which we gave 4 examples, and now the subjective ones. We have so many examples here, about 6. Let's see if we can quickly run through them. Short answer essay. Of course, this is just like a sentence or a word or a phrase that the individual will write as demanded by the teacher, and it's basically to test knowledge and understanding. Then the extended essay. This one is of higher level of cognition, opportunity for the student to express himself and give his own opinion and demonstrate his understanding and creativity in that subject matter. So it's of the highest high order of thinking. Problem solving is another one which examines creativity and analytic solutions. For example, it can be used in mathematics, science, arts, etc. What can be done to help protect animal habitats? That's a question. For example, you are putting that to the student, and so the student has to give his own suggestions, perhaps critique what other people have said, and come to a conclusion. Oral. The oral test question is very useful to correct misinformation, misunderstanding, because the teacher will be asking the student questions, the student will be responding, and the teacher will know where there are wrong submissions and immediately correct them. Then we have the performance test, which is basically for skill acquisition, project and practical work. Field work basically is what this performance test is useful. And computational test, the student perform calculations in order to solve an answer. In order to solve a problem which he will get the answer to. The teacher describes the unit and degree of precision expected in the answer. For example, in mathematics, in physics, in chemistry, this type of calculation can come up and you will be told correct this to 3 decimal places or to 4. The instructions must be very clear, and that is it. But we should know that CA, which is continuous assessment, may also be given in the class, like giving the students homework, quiz, among others. So it's not only by putting a quiz or test. It can be assignment that they will have to carry out and be assessed. Some important points to note in writing test items. There are many points. There are many points in the books, in the internet. I will give you a link after this presentation, after this the end of this very topic, in this same slide, in this same presentation. The first thing to consider in writing any test item is the content validity. Knowledge and skills must be assessed. Content validity, are you covering the curriculum for the student? Is it going to measure all spheres of knowledge, especially using the Bloom taxonomy? The steps, are they covered? Because for it to be balanced, those steps there must be covered, and the curriculum. Not only that, these questions should be valid, they should also be reliable to assess what they are meant to assess. The main purpose of the item is to differentiate competent and non-competent examinee. That's the purpose of writing test items. It's not really to fail anybody, to know their competence and what their weaknesses are. Think like an examinee. This will make you fair as a teacher. Rubrics must be clearly defined. Items should not be too difficult, because if the students fail, the teacher too has failed. Always anticipate scoring. This is very important, because you must know how the scoring will be even before formulating your test items, and that will also make it easy for somebody who is not in your school, or not who is a professional but like you, but not in your school or university, will also be able to assess should that person come as an external examiner. Questions should provoke high order thinking. Students should be evaluative, creative, and innovative. They should not go into what we call rote memory or thinking. Higher order examinations is thinking on a level that is higher than memorizing facts or telling something back to you, to someone, exactly the way that person has told you. When a person memorizes and gives back the information without having to think about it, we call that rote memory, and that should be discouraged. Now, this is a link. I'm saying that when you go to this link, you will get more on this writing tests and for continuous assessment and examination. Bloom's taxonomy, you keep hearing us saying it, and I know you've heard it from time to time from previous facilitators in this program, but I just quickly want to say there are 6 steps, and now we are starting right now here, as I have it on this slide. It's from the lowest to the highest step. The lowest being knowledge, and knowledge is same thing as remembering. Comprehension, same as understanding. Applying, analyzing, synthesis, which is where you create new ideas and information and evaluating. And this picture on the right hand, my right hand side, it's the Bloom's taxonomy cognitive domain, and it's like telling you it's coming from down there, from the knowledge, and going to the highest. But then there's the next picture, is clearer. That is also about Bloom's taxonomy, but it's not telling us what each session should have. Remembering, what do you test to somebody, I mean the students to remember? You ask questions like describe, locate, identify, name, list. These are many ways to make the student remember things. And you ask, how do you test understanding? Understanding, you have to make sure that they are able to summarize what they have learned, not just cramming and putting down, and not just plagiarizing. When it comes to assignment, go and write it. If they can summarize, explain, paraphrase, discuss, these are just some ways to make them know that level. And these 2 levels I have mentioned right now, they are the lower order thinking levels. Applying that one in applying, like you can use a diagram to illustrate something and discuss it. So the diagram, you're speaking to the diagram and you're applying your knowledge. Then we talk about analyzing. You see, this diagram is slightly different from that other one. All the higher order thinking, the three of them are put at the same level here, unlike that one at one level gives a way to the other. Analyzing, you analyze, you explore, you compare and contrast. You explore a particular topic, you examine it, you organize it, you compare, you contrast. These are ways to make the students have an analytic mind. Then you create, and that's same as synthesizing that we saw in the previous diagram. You create, that means you bring out information, new things from what you have been able to read. So you design, you build, you plan, you construct, you invent. That is what that creative is about. And finally, evaluating is always evaluating. You critically examine, you critique, as in you try to look for the positive and negative and compare and take a stand. So I won't waste much time on this again, because the next slide is also going to explain further to you what we have here in the prose form. And I call it breaking it down. What are the characteristics that you can see in each of these steps that I told you, like this, and so you start to see them all are taking a similar shape as the diagram, but just giving you some examples of what you can use specifically. So it's by and large the same thing. I will not read this slide because of want of time, because our slides will not be too long, but it's there for you to just look at it at your pace. So the last three slides, the two pictures on Bloom taxonomy and this breaking it down, are all referring to the same thing. Then, do we conclude? Yes, let's conclude. We are at the end of it now. Test items provide a more accurate and complete picture of the learner's level and their understanding of what they have learned. It is used for assessments and examinations which affect decisions about grades, placement, advancement, instructional needs, a curriculum, and so on and so forth. Thank you for your attention. On Thursday, which is tomorrow, we shall be online so that we talk about these things which we have heard about today, and we'll be entertaining your questions. Thank you so much.